On a warm summer night, you, your stepbrother, and your longtime best friend board a ferry on the way to a forgotten island, a hidden treasure destined to be the greatest party spot of the summer. The lake is calm. A cooling summer breeze gently flows through your hair and glides across the top of your fingers. The sun is setting. The warm, saturated display of colors ooze into the horizon with the blue and purple night slowly creeping in. You hear your friend and stepbrother chit-chatting about this and that and finally decide to jump in on the conversation. This was supposed to be the greatest party of the summer. Yet, as you will come to figure out, it will be the most terrifying summer of your life. Welcome to Oxenfree, the humorous horror story that tops all of the classic ghost tales. This video game follows our main character Alex, who joins her stepbrother and her best friend to travel to an island in which they plan to meet up with other friends from school and party the night away. One problem: this island isn't what it seems. After messing around with mysterious radio frequencies, this troop of teens finds themselves involved with more than they ever bargained for. This abandoned place holds dark secrets that demand to be brought to the light. To save her friends, Alex must undergo a dangerous journey to understand the evil forces looming over this island, and must dive into her own mind, coming to terms with her troubling past and overcoming the demons that haunt her. Oxenfree is a beautifully orchestrated tale of troubled teens and infuriated ghosts. Personally, this is one of my favorite games of all time for many different reasons. In this review, I'd like to talk about all of the things I love about the game and the few negatives I found when playing this. And yes, I've played it multiple times because I love it so much. Now, let's dive into my official review of Oxenfree. To start off with this review, let's examine the characters in the game. The characters in Oxenfree are written with compassion and complexity, especially our main character Alex. All of these characters have well-designed pasts that come to affect their present and relatable personalities that mesh, and in some cases clash, in brilliant fashion. Each character is someone that you come to know and love throughout the game and sympathize with as well. Their personalities are not severely exaggerated and, as previously mentioned, are relatable to say the least. And no character can be taken at face value. They all have underlying themes and issues and their own moral compasses. They genuinely feel like people we would know in our own lives. The next great part about this game would be the dialogue. The dialogue is clearly driven by the characters' personalities and flows well between the characters, and it actually tends to make sense. The dialogue rarely ever feels forced and sounds like an actual conversation you would have in real life. It feels natural, authentic, like you yourself could enter the conversation. This natural sounding dialogue is especially impressive considering the fact that you get to choose most of what Alex says. The developers, Night School Studios, put in the effort to make sure that with whatever dialogue choice you made, the responses would feel natural and genuine. Now, a slight critique with the dialogue would be that with cuts between dialogue when skipping through can get choppy from time to time, but we'll address that more later on. Continuing with the writing theme, the plot of this game is just great. It's an emotional story that demands intrigue and leaves you in awe. Like the characters, the story is complex and cannot be taken at face value. Yes, the plot does resemble a classic horror story that follows lost teens in an abandoned place fighting with unnatural forces. However, like the hit show Stranger Things, Oxenfree takes on this classic 80s trope and infuses it with a deeper plot, dealing with philosophical themes of loss and regret, while providing complex characters that drive the story forward and provide interesting moral reflection. This story is a well-balanced blend of humor, horror, and everything in between. Oh, and did I forget to mention that you can actually control how the plot progresses and ends? Oxenfree forces you to make difficult choices that do have good or bad consequences depending on who you are. Choose wisely. Another great aspect of this game is its visual design. The game wasn't trying to be the next great bastion of realistic graphics, no. Instead, they owned their modern cartoon aesthetic and ran with it. The visuals are not inherently complex but work really well in their simplicity. The color scheme blends very well into the landscape and provides a satisfying visual experience for the player. With video games, there is beauty in simplicity. This game proves it. They knew exactly what their visual direction was and stuck with it, giving us a pleasing aesthetic that is easy on the eyes. My favorite part of the game is the sound design. This soundtrack is brilliant. This clever assortment of songs thrusts you into the world around you, invoking joy and instilling fear. Not only is the soundtrack designed well, the voice acting truly helps immerse you into the game. These voice actors do a fantastic job at bringing out the best in these characters and contribute to the relatability of these characters as well. The voices feel very fitting and natural, real. The sound design of this game is just impeccable and completely matches the tone of what Oxenfree was going for. Now, I would be lying if I said this game was 100% completely perfect throughout. It does have a couple issues that do need addressed. One, the game mechanics aren't perfect. When playing the game, you may find yourself in more difficult situations than the game originally intended because of getting stuck due to the possible bug issues. Another critique is that since you can skip through character dialogue, the dialogue will get choppy from time to time, especially if you're feeling impatient. Occasionally, the map design and layout can be a little confusing and hard to understand at first, but I will admit that it's a pretty small critique for me because I believe you can adjust to the surroundings of the island fairly quickly. The pros of this video game far outweigh the cons, and overall, this game is a must-play in my opinion. It's one of my genuine favorite games, and I believe it'll be one of your favorites too. At the bare minimum, it's a fun journey to lose yourself in over a weekend. But if you're like me, you'll find yourself coming there again and again, solving this great mystery with video game characters that somehow became your real friends. Overall, I would give Oxenfree a 9.5 out of 10, or an A. Due to some game mechanic issues, I don't feel like I can rightfully call it perfect and slap an A+ grade on there. However, the story, the characters, and just the high quality production level in general propel this game near the top of my all-time favorites. You can find Oxenfree on various platforms such as Microsoft Windows, OS X, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Linux, iOS, and Android. With the game being listed at a fairly low price, it is certainly worth every penny you pay. I hope you enjoyed playing Oxenfree, and I hope you found this review helpful. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.